Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler, and this is another of our top whatever lists. In this case, the top 5, in my perception at the moment, top 5 rarest Star Wars home video items, at least when it comes to the US and related markets. And I say, we're talking about things here that are rare, but not necessarily things that were produced in low numbers. There is a difference between something that was limited quantity, which you can easily find today still on places like eBay, and stuff that was produced maybe in larger quantities that are just a real pain in the ass to ever find these days. Things you really got to kind of hunt for to find, if at all, and certainly to find in good condition. So in this case, what we're going to take a look at here is 5 items that fit that description to my mind in an order that sort of reflects to me the order in which they are difficult to find. But surely if you have other ideas of things that you find particularly difficult to find, some very rare items in the Star Wars home video library out there, go ahead and put it in the comments. Feel free to add to the discussion as well. I'm just looking at 5 things here that struck me as super, super rare and difficult to find a lot of the times that I wanted to kind of put here in perspective for us. Again, just because something is produced in low numbers or a limited edition even a numbered limited edition, does not necessarily mean they are some of the rarest items out there. The rare items tend to be the ones that are just the hardest to find these days on the secondary market. It's not about how many were produced in the first place, it's how easy is it to get your hands on it or find it on a place like eBay today in 2023, or as I was collecting over the years. So, we're going to start out with one that is kind of an oddball item. It is one of those few times where we saw a Star Wars home video item packed in with a toy, in this case a lightsaber toy. And no, it's not one of the bonus lightsaber action DVDs, which are actually a little bit easier to find. This one, for number 5, is Force Tech Training. That is the teeny tiny mini DVD that you will see packaged in some lightsabers from the Ultimate FX lightsaber line like this one. I have 2 of these at this point. One where I've cut it out so I can actually get the disc and the cover out, which is my Anakin one that is sitting up on a shelf here. I just want to show you where to find it here rather than the disc itself here. So this is the Darth Vader version of it. I actually need to go through before I put it away and take the batteries out so they don't go bad inside the thing over the years. Oh, there it goes again. Stop it. Very Sithy and not respecting authority. But yeah, the Ultimate FX lightsabers, some of them, a limited number of them, actually include the DVD. You'll see it behind the blade with its little jacket there. It's a mini DVD. You also see the little indicator here telling you that it's in there. There are others, I think, with other bonuses, but if you're a home video collector, you want to find one of the ones that actually has the disc inside. Unfortunately, pretty hard to come by on the secondary market. It seems like a lot of these got opened and the discs were gone. Finding the discs by themselves is a little more easy sometimes than finding an actual still sealed in good condition lightsaber that comes with it, but certainly not an easy thing to find at this point on the secondary market. The next item for number 4 is so rare I've only seen it pop up a few times ever out in the wild. I know a few collectors who have managed to find these, but it's pretty difficult to get your hands on. It's kind of an obscure, goofy little release. Goofy in the perspective that, to me, I don't feel like it needed to exist in the first place. And that is Clone Wars: A Galaxy Divided. Clone Wars: A Galaxy Divided was one of 2, alongside Clone Commandos, that were released before the Season 1 complete set came out for the Clone Wars TV series, to kind of just milk that audience a little bit, with 4 episodes, or 5 in the Walmart version, put onto DVD in the original aired version, not the director's cut that came later with the theatrical aspect ratio in the Blu-ray set or the DVD set, just pushed out there in that gap between the beginning of the series and when they finally got their first season set a short time later. And A Galaxy Divided itself is not terribly rare. It's really easy to find. Might be a little tougher to find with an intact slipcover, but still pretty freaking easy to find. Same thing with the Walmart exclusive version of it that came with an extra episode on the disc. But there were 2, which in this case will be our numbers 4 and 3, that are incredibly hard to find, one of which is damn near impossible to find. Again, I've only seen this one for number 4 a few times. That is the Best Buy exclusive version of A Galaxy Divided. You will see the sticker there denoting that there is a patch inside. The actual package itself inside is the same, but when you open it, along with the regular disc, is going to be a little Yoda patch. That is all that sets this one apart. But it is extremely difficult to find, especially if you're looking for it with the slipcover, with the sticker, and with the patch intact on the inside. A lot of times when you do see these at all, you'll see them incomplete, like here's the release with the patch, but no slipcover to denote where it came from. Or here's a slipcover and the package with the DVD, but the patch is gone. One that's often found in pieces, but you can find it whole. It is one of the rarer items out there, particularly for the Clone Wars line. But there is one that beats it, which for me is the number 3. That is one that I actually still have the tag on, the sticker on, which is this one from Toys R Us. If the Best Buy ones are like finding a unicorn, the Toys R Us ones are like finding an albino unicorn out there. Extremely rare. I've only seen, again, a few of these, far less even than these. Like, I could count the number of these that I've seen in the wild on one hand, right? And that's even one hand if I was a bad wood shop teacher. Okay, do they even still do wood shop? So in this case, big thing denoting that this is from Toys R Us. Again, the interior is the same, but when you look inside, along with the disc, you have a fold-out poster inside. Not an amazing poster. In fact, I'm not even a big fan of that poster. But that is what makes this one unique, along with that sticker denoting that it is from Toys R Us. Again, incredibly rare. If you find this out in the wild, get it. Even if you have no interest in Clone Wars, even if you have no interest in collecting Star Wars home video, get it. You now have something you can sell off for probably more than you paid for it. Now, the last 2 items on this list are actually going to not be specific items so much as formats. There are actually formats out there, entire formats, like VHS, Beta, DVD, Blu-ray, and so on, that are so incredibly rare that they get a spot on this list. Because if you can find anything Star Wars home video on those formats, it's like finding the Holy Grail. The first of these formats is something we would primarily see coming out of the UK for Star Wars collectors, and that is Video 2000, aka V2000, aka VCC. Lots of different names for these. I think it stands for Video Compact Cassette, if I remember correctly. Yep, Video Compact Cassette, because here's one of them. I have managed to get a few of these into my collection over the years, thanks to Matt Fry. I have Making of Star Wars and Empire and A New Hope here, but basically what these are, they're typically in clamshell cases that look like they could be VHS or Beta from the era, but there are these other kinds of cassettes that my understanding is you actually play on both sides. Mine has a little bit of writing on it here. And a little sticker somebody added there for, you know, tracking a collection and all. But yeah, they're another magnetic tape format, basically, alongside VHS and Beta and so on, that you could find fairly early in the Star Wars home video launch cycle, back 82 going into 83, and just a few more years until the format finally croaked as far as home media went. But if you can ever find yourself a Video 2000 or V2000, that's amazing. I actually passed up one that I still need, because I know that there's also Ewoks Caravan of Courage and Jedi in this format. I passed up Caravan of Courage because there was an auction that had that and 2 of the ones I already had, and the price point was just way too high when doing a lot of stuff around the house and dealing with medical bills and everything else. So I missed one of them that I could have had at one point. But definitely something that is very difficult to come by. So if you can, snatch it up. Video 2000 or V2000. Not released in the US on that format, but you can find it out there in foreign markets like the UK. Speaking of foreign markets having stuff that's pretty cool that you just couldn't get over here, that would also include our number 1. For me, the number 1 hardest format to find anything for Star Wars home video on is Video 8, which is a consumer version of 8mm tape, similar to what you would use in old camcorders and so forth, which did not have any releases for Star Wars over here, but did have some pre-recorded movies released over here, like the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom film, just not anything coming in terms of Star Wars. For that, you'd have to go to somewhere like the UK. This, again, this is the one that was actually used for the Tech-Moan video introducing Video 8 that taught me a lot about the format. I wound up purchasing this from the gentleman who put that together. And then we have, thanks to Jeremy Goss pointing me to auctions for these years ago, we have the cassettes, the set for the best library coming out of Japan. And again, they're just teeny tiny packages are a little bit larger than for audio cassettes from back then, but it's this little teeny tiny cassette tape format for pre-recorded movies. Again, mostly used for not pre-recorded stuff, but for camcorders to capture home videos and stuff like that. Not home video, but home video. Wow, that's home movies? Capturing your life before you could use things like phones to do it all the time. But there were some releases in other markets and some in the US, but a limited amount, that actually did have pre-recorded films on them. And the Star Wars trilogy did get that treatment in Japan. And my understanding is got that treatment in the UK, although the only one I've ever been able to come by myself is this one here. Video 8 Star Wars items are perhaps the absolute rarest format to find anything for Star Wars whatsoever. There were more of them in those markets than, say, maybe something like PVD or something like that when it came to like the story of Star Wars. But those weren't, of course, the movies. But in terms of finding them today on the market, good freaking luck. Again, if you find one of these, the Force has smiled upon you because they are insanely hard to get your hands on at this point. And all of these are all retail items. Imagine some of the non-retail items out there and the rarity of some of those, such as screeners and the like. But with that, I think I'll wrap this up here. To me, these are the ones that stand out as the ones that are just the pains to find at any point these days. But if you can, snatch them up because they are pretty rare and pretty difficult to find on the secondary market in modern day. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers.